Have you ever felt bad for not knowing a specific thing? Like maybe you didn't know states and capital, like me now, or basic knowledge that you missed out growing up. Maybe you were not in class, you skipped school purposely or not, and then there was nobody to check you, and you've been cruising ever since. Does that happen to you? Because it has to me too. I mean, I already said my example. I didn't know states and capital. I still don't, but I'm actively learning to correct that gap. How did I do it? I'm going to share 3 tips that helped me or is helping me. And here's tip 1: drop the shame first. And it's very shameful, or it is supposed to be very shameful, admitting that you don't know something, especially in Nigeria, where everybody's supposed to be professionals at what they do already. Now, what do I mean by drop the shame? The shame you will normally feel when you ask what is supposed to be a stupid question. You should drop it. You shouldn't feel bad for not knowing anything. There is not one person that has, the magnanimity of knowledge where this person is always right. You should drop that shame. And something that really helps that thinking or that mentality is there are no foolish questions. Our teachers were wrong when they said there are no stupid questions, no wrong answers, stuff like that. So if you do not know something, you should first of all acknowledge that and then drop the shame you would feel before you ask a certain question that you know nothing about. Tip 2: learn like a beginner on purpose. What does that mean? Tip 1 was acknowledging your gap in knowledge, the fact that you do not know anything. So all of a sudden, the questions you're asking, are you now an expert? No, you're not. You still don't know this thing. So learn like a beginner on purpose. Start from ground zero, even if zero is uncomfortable. After acknowledging that you don't know this thing, learn from ground zero. Admit that, yes, I don't know this thing. Just reset your knowledge. You're not bigger than the person you're asking the question because you've already acknowledged that you don't know this thing. So all of a sudden, the questions that you are now trying to ask, or the questions that you think you're asking to form, I know this thing. No, you don't. Purposely learn from ground zero. Learn like a beginner on purpose. Now, for the third and final tip, structure beats motivation every time. Robert Greene, the author of Atomic Habits, said, "We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems." How does what I said relate to structure beats motivation? Let me explain. Instead of postponing the learning process, instead of saying, "I'll figure it out someday," you shouldn't do that. You should instead intentionally learn. You should take time out and figure out how you want to learn something. Whether you learn alphabetically, geographically, anyhow that learning suits you best is how you should learn. You don't all of a sudden become an expert at something. That is, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. The systems you put in place to learn will determine how well you're able to achieve proficiency, or knowledge of a certain topic at a certain level. Take, for instance, in the beginning, I said I didn't know states and capital. I wasn't lying. I didn't say it to make you feel comfortable. I was being honest. I only started learning states and capital last year, November. And how did I choose to learn? I chose to learn by learning the geographical positions of each state and capital. For example, Southwest states, Southeast states, South. Putting the 3 tips together, how did that help me in learning the states and capital, or how am I learning the states and capital? I first acknowledged that I didn't know it. I didn't lie to myself. I mean, I know Lagos, Ikeja, and Osun, Osogbo because I'm from there. And here and there, but I acknowledged that I didn't know it. Step 2, I learned from zero. I humbled myself and said, I basically started on a clean slate. What is Lagos? What's the capital of Lagos? I don't know. I just started learning from beginning. And then what structure did I put in place to learn these things? I asked my best friend, ChatGPT, to break down the states and capital. I first told him to list the states and capital. And then I was like, I've been in school for 6, 12 years, whatever the amount of years. Our states and capital was at the back of every single notebook I had. Why didn't I learn it then? I don't know. It never really worked for me. And then I was like, okay, since I know the geographical positions of each state, or an idea rather after learning, after starting to learn and saying that okay, this thing wasn't working how I thought it would work. I then told him to do to do it in the geographical positions of each state and capital, and see if it will help my knowledge of it. And it has considerably, by a large mile, helped my knowledge of it. I can tell you for a fact that if you follow these 3 tips to learning, you'll be a better person than you were yesterday. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've been able to learn, and I hope you're able to put these tips to good use. I'm Ebunlomo Oluwatunmise reporting live from Code Roof Studio. See you next time.